literally what you did was you managed my emotions and you managed your own at the same time. You just went,
Exactly.
and that's not for me, and moving on.
That's
And
actually a really good example of it.
it was,
Yeah.
but it was done. Yeah, so it's wise for us to clearly summarize that. But it was done with grace and ease that I didn't get offended of what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Like you shut me down very quickly,
Mhm.
but it didn't feel like you were slapping me by a 4x2. Like,
Yeah, I wasn't saying shut up, but I
yeah,
also made it very clear we're not going to that. We're not having
yeah.
that conversation. And this
It
that's
was
my
how it was how it was said. Also, you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's not for me. I
Yes.
think that's all you just said. Oh, that's not for me,
Yeah.
and it was just done.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb.
Hi.
I can always rely on you to do some quirky, fun, sweet intro. Um, Welcome, dear listeners. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations with dear Debs over there and dear Moira over here. Oh, see?
Yes, 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 that's me. Yes.
I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. We're going to be talking about how to manage other people's emotions. I think that's something that is a very important topic to dive into and unpack because it's actually something that's been coming up quite often in conversations I've been having with clients. So I'm intrigued about this one. But dear listeners, if you've been with us before, welcome back. And if you haven't been with us before, welcome, welcome. But before we crack into our topic for today, we do this wee check-in, and I reference this as our PEMS check-in. And PEMS meaning our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. And so what we do is we just check in with ourselves and give ourselves a number from 0 to 10. And at 0, we're feeling really calm and zen and peaceful. Everything's flowing and in harmony within that.
Ah,
Yeah, that.
yeah.
And then all the way up to the other end of the spectrum is a 10 where you're discombobulated, crazy making, stuck, wondering what the best way forward. And the truth is we actually move up and down that scale all the time. So this check-in is just a really brief check-in, and it's just an assessment to note where you are and move on from there. Because it's actually very clarifying to see, oh, I've got such and such going on, or just informing what's the best step forward, right?
It just makes you go, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
No wonder. No wonder I feel like this because I'm sitting at a 10. No
yeah,
wonder I'm not going to get anything done today.
yeah,
Or
absolutely.
yeah.
And so, listeners, what we do is we encourage you to just take a wee note. We're going to make a note of where we are at, and then at the halfway point, we encourage you to just have a little check in again and assess where you are. And then at the end, we're all going to check. And of course, Deb and I, our intention with these conversations is to meet you wherever you are on that scale, and then gently, kindly, lovingly coax you towards that 0. So
Is our intention to how to manage other people's emotions on this
yes,
podcast? Is
yes,
actually literally, as I looked at the title, I went, that's what we're doing
that's what we're
right now.
doing. Yeah. So all that being said, my dear, where are you on that scale of 0 to 10?
I'm a 2.
Well, and do you know what was really funny? I'm a 2 as well, and I always make a note of where you are and where I am, and I actually just wrote 2 for me and 2 for you without you asking me. It's like, oh, I better ask you where you are.
Well, I tell you, I actually put DC, and I don't do this on my notes. I went DC 2 and then MH 2, just as you went, I'm a 2 myself, and I went, did I just write that before she said that? And then you literally just said that same thing, and I was like, oh yeah, this is too purple for me.
Yeah.
This is too purple. We're both writing each other's like, whoop, whoop.
Well, how to manage other people's emotions. You see, that to me is a but of course moment. But
Yeah,
of course, we've been talking for a wee bit before we hit record, and so we're totally in touch with each other's emotions right here.
Yeah, right there. You've just tapped into it right there. I
Love
actually
it.
had to Google because when we were talking about how to manage other people's, when you said the topic after we talked, I went, oh, I said something earlier on our pre-call, and
Mhm.
Moira went, yeah, no, that doesn't interest me. Yep, no. And literally you were just like, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay. And then I just ended the sentence and we moved on gracefully. It was actually literally what you did was you managed my emotions and you managed your own at the same time. You just went,
Exactly.
and that's not for me, and moving on.
That's
And
actually a really good example of it.
it was,
Yeah.
but it was done. Yeah, so it's wise for us to clearly summarize that, but it was done with grace and ease that I didn't get offended of what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Like you shut me down very quickly,
Mhm.
but it didn't feel like you were slapping me by a 4x2. Like,
Yeah, I wasn't saying shut up, but I
yeah,
also made it very clear we're not going to that. We're not having
yeah,
that conversation. And you know,
it
that's
was
my,
how it was said.
it's what?
It was how it was said also. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's not for me.
yes,
I think that's all you just said, oh, that's not for me.
yeah,
And it was just done in that, okay, righto. But it wasn't done. That's not for like yeah. Okay, tip 1, watch how you say things. There we go. Sum it
yeah,
up.
yeah. Watch how you say things. So tip 1 is watch how you say things, but come from your emotion. So
Oh
how to
yeah.
manage other people's emotions is be authentic and real with how you feel. Not saying you just made me feel this because
Not what
you
not
didn't.
what we think they want to feel, or
Yeah.
uh yeah, I know what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. But you did it with such you did it with enough force.
Mhm.
Moira's like, God, I just said this. You did it with enough force that it was direct enough. It was very clear. There was no mismatch in what you were saying. Like I understood it.
Right.
100% I understood what you were saying. And it was like, done. That was
Mhm.
it. And so for me, I guess for me being the receiver of that, I hadn't wrapped up that conversation in my head. And so Moira was just putting shutting the door to it. I hadn't wrapped it up. So I could have felt that there was still things I wanted to say. Because in conversations,
Mhm.
one says, no, I'm done, and the other walks away, and one's like, well, hang on, I still got things to say.
Right.
But the way you said it was enough to go, we're not going there.
Mhm.
I bet you're all curious to what we're talking about, by the way. I bet you're all juicy and want to know. And by the way, I'm not telling you, just so you know.
Just so you know.
You're never going to know the conversation. But it allowed me to finish. It allowed me to give a couple of sentences or so to finish that off,
Right.
to make me feel like the door is now closed. Even though you would close the door,
Mhm.
I still felt the door was a little bit open in my mind, because I was left with, what the heck? Like, this is going on, and that's where I was.
Mhm.
But you shut it with, I'm going to say you shut the glass door, so I could still see you were there,
Right.
but I knew you weren't going to engage with me. So I just shut that down. Does that all make sense?
It does, because from what you're saying, and from my perspective, I was doing it from a space of respect. Like I honor and respect you, but I was just saying I'm not doing that. So I wasn't doing it from any type of you can't bring that to
malicious
me,
or
right? You
yeah,
can't carry on with that. Technically you can't, but I was doing it with honor and respect of you, right? It was nothing personal. Actually, it
Yeah.
wasn't anything personal. It was just like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And as I go back into that emotion from when we were talking, I didn't feel, I say people want to get seen, heard, and acknowledged. That
Right.
that's something there's another tip there
That's
in a
another
minute.
tip. Yeah.
Yeah. But I felt seen, I felt heard, and I felt acknowledged, but
Yeah.
I didn't feel yeah, I felt it like it was I'm gonna say the word good. But I felt good afterwards. Like you closed the door, I closed it as well. I
Right.
went, that's it, done. But because when you have a conversation, you walk away and you go, oh, I just feel like it's not finished. And 3 days later, you're still milling around on that whole
Yeah.
conversation. You're like, it feels like that door's still a little bit ajar and there's little things that keep seeping into your mind. So your conversation's not closed
Yeah.
with that person
And then but you might also be having a rumination thinking, oh, but maybe if I put it a different way, or maybe I left something out, or maybe I didn't explain it well enough, or right. So
yeah.
that can sometimes
But the way you
play
gracefully
it.
shut the door on me,
Mhm.
there was no way that conversation was going to open again.
No.
It was very clear, very direct. But even as I'm talking now, you didn't talk like that, like
No.
I'm talking now. You
No.
talked in a beautiful, a nurturing way, and it's
Mhm.
that sense acknowledged.
Yeah.
But you were like, no, I think you said something like, no, we're not going to go there, or no, when, like, I can't even remember now. That was
I didn't even say we. I said I can't do that. I'm not.
we.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
No,
But it was,
but you see what I'm saying is that I actually
you
respect
didn't
everybody's
engage.
opinion. I wasn't going to engage in that though, because
Mm.
it's like, and that's and for our listeners, and this is actually around that seen, heard, and acknowledged, is something that's I think is a crucial aspect of how to manage other people's emotions is check in with yourself first. How do I feel about myself here? How do I feel
Mm.
about myself when this person is wanting to talk about something that's not okay for you? That's actually a wee bit of a thing of boundaries too, isn't it?
Yeah, because even when you said that, I had that little like, oh God, that would be horrible. And in saying that, even when you're saying that, I didn't even think that it would affect you.
Mm.
I didn't even think. I just, because I talk, we talk, and Maura and I talk, and there's literally no, I would say between you and I, there's no conversation that's untouched. If we want to go there, we
Yeah,
go there,
yeah.
and then you can shut the glass door or not, or I can shut the glass door. I would say that. So thinking about that, yeah, it was respectful.
Mhm.
So I guess that's the other thing, is be respectful.
Be
The tip is be
respectful.
respectful for yourself just as much as them.
Yes. Yes, because being respectful to you, your own self, means there are certain areas that just don't drive for you, and that's okay. And then but you respectfully say, an example of this is my husband really likes watching the news and all the
Oh yeah.
political unrest and chaos and discombobulation in the world, and I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy for him to go and do
That's
that.
actually, you can just say that's actually a big thing. That's a left and right. Like
Yeah.
that's not a little in between the middle, do you want butter or margarine? Like that's a big like I compare it. Jim, she compared you to butter and margarine watching the news. But it's a big thing. Someone what is engaging in the news and someone is not. That's a big one, not just a small one.
So the agreement is for us is that he watches it in a different room with the door closed, and I don't engage at all. So it's never a conflict because it's just an understood thing between us. And that is such an important piece. It's about how to manage other people's emotions is understand that we all have the right. In fact, it's superbly important for us to own our own emotions and actually process them and allow them to inform us as to what's right and what's not right, what's uncomfortable and what's comfortable, right?
Mm.
What's in alignment with the truth of you and what's not so much. And it can
Yeah.
change. It also can change, right?
Well, it can change because of your PIMS.
Exactly. Yes, it can. But also because of you, maybe you learn something or you become exposed to some other viewpoint and you kind of go, oh, I had never thought of it that way, or I never felt about something like that. So being willing to stay present to what is and not get all caught up and bent out of shape.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, how does this make me feel about me?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, people, I interrupted Moira at the start, so she didn't say grab your note-taking device.
Oh, that's right. Grabbed it. Good for you for bringing that in.
I just literally went straight in, and as I look at my notes, I'm like, oh, notes, grab notes. So people,
pen, pencil, note-taking device.
So whatever it wants, and here we go. Yeah, yeah. Because we've hit 5 tips already.
I know, we're just like right in there, right in there.
But what you just said, it takes you back to that 3rd tip, was how does this make me feel about me?
Yeah.
You know, if you've, and your body, I guess there's symptoms that come into your mind and your physical that can guide you. How does this make me feel about me? If you've got a headache, it's really heavy in your head. It's weighing heavy. If you feel like when you're walking, you're not walking light and you're stomp.
Yeah.
Stomp. Or you're stomp light. Like if you've got a little bit of a whatever, that's showing something. It's the physical that's showing up that, honey, there's something to work on.
Absolutely. You know, and so listen, and this is to me, this is part of a listening. And when I'm saying listening, so maybe you've got a heaviness in your tummy. Dialogue with it. What is this here to tell you, to show you, to guide you? This is because this is about managing. You see, managing other people's emotions, it's so important for you to manage yours first.
Well, they say that. What did they say on the what's that aircraft thing? You got to put your own seatbelt on.
Oxygen mask.
My seatbelt.
You get the oxygen mask on you first
before you help others.
Before you help others, yeah.
I think we forget that stuff because it's like, you know what? I need to do this before I do, before I can hold space and energy for you. I need to do something for me, whatever that is. But those physical signs and symptoms come in and they're very clear. They're very clear, but it depends if we've got our eyes open or not.
Yes, and so, but you see, that actually takes us into something else that I think is an important part too, is that any of those signs or symptoms, they're for you. They're for your guidance and your gift and your best way forward. It's not
for you, not against you.
Yes, exactly. It's not like, actually I had a conversation with a client a wee while ago where she's going through some tough stuff with her physical body, physical health basically, and so she's getting annoyed with her body, like, dang it, all this stiffness and pain here. And so we're working on being grateful for the things that she can do, as opposed to, oh, now I can't do this and now I can't do that. So it is reframing that even if it feels like, or this is back to my favorite saying that you say, is obstacles are never in your way, they're on your way. And I actually put that into this too. So if I have stiffness or aches and pains in my body, they're not in my way, they're on my way, and they need to be honored and respected and invited in. Say hello, what are you here to show me, to guide me, to
well, you know, the word that comes up, the word is trust.
Yeah.
And I think about that, and I think it's a trust, because it's trusting that even though you say this is on the way, not in the way, it's that trust that's truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trusting that it's on the way, because it's never in the way, but trusting that you've got this, trusting that other people will love and accept your decision, which can also be a fantasy. You're trusting they're going to do that little thing, like, well, and it's trusting that the bigger picture's all going to work out. So I know with certainty that everything is on the way, not in the way. Yeah. I know that, and you know that.
Mhm.
but other people may not. But
Yeah.
trust is a big one. Trust is a big one.
Trust is a big one because sometimes in that, and I can think of conversations that I've had with people that it's like they might take that on, but then they might have a really solid sense of how it's not supposed to work out.
Mm.
And that's that reminds me of that ism. I don't know who said this. We make plans and God laughs.
I was just going to say, God will be laughing.
Laughing. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so when I get into this place of deep trust and knowing beyond the shadow of a doubt, it is a truth. But I can't conceive it of my thinking mind sometimes, right?
Mm.
And that's one of the most powerful ways to manage our own emotions and the emotions of all around us is that, I might not have the verbiage or the vision of what it's going to be, but I know it'll be awesome when it happens or when it transpires, when we arrive there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it is down to that. Yeah. I think I want to put in here past stories. I don't know really how to, well, past stories, past triggers, past attachments, whatever you want to call it. Our past stories have a large impact on our everyday life. And until you've learned to iron out that past story and see the beauty and the crinkles and work through that, like that story is still going to attach to you. So be aware, and I'm just going to say be aware of those past stories, those triggers, whatever you want to call it, because you might go, oh, I can't talk to my mum about this because every time I talk to my mum, she loses her stuff, gets angry. But I can talk to dad because dad's really soft. Or apologies, mum and dad. It's flipped later in the later life. But I think being aware, and you just have to be aware of those past stories. Go, oh, this is that mum trigger I have, or this is my dad trigger, or this is my partner trigger, or this is a man or a family or a work thing or whatever it is. But just be aware of those past stories, because if you don't choose to heal them, and when I say heal them, I'm talking about put them in your heart. If you choose to not do that, it's just going to repeat and escalate and big. But be aware of those. Just does that all make sense? I feel like I'm just going around in a gibberish way now.
No, it does. It makes a lot of sense. And I think in my own way of looking at this is we all have like a complex of the stories and the triggers and the different members in our inner committee, if you like. So one of the what this was, and I think we should put this as a separate tip, is appreciation. Because to me, yeah, truly, the thing, and this is something that I've often said to clients, is that, if you have something coming up, oh, I can't talk to so-and-so because of blah, 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 whatever that is. And it keeps looping in your head of like, oh, there's no point in doing this because this is how it went last time. Well, that's an outmoded pattern. It's not actually based on the truth of what's happening right in this very moment. So if you can press pause, put your hand on your heart, and just acknowledge and say thank you. Thank you to that dialogue or that verbiage that's coming up in your mind, that thought pattern, because its mandate is to try and keep you safe or try and to make you look good or perform or succeed or whatever it is that's underneath that. So if you can say thank you, have appreciation, it will actually dial the volume down. That's like this is how to deal with like the inner critic or the inner saboteur, which oftentimes are past triggers. They're saboteurs from something that happened when you were a child, type of thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And who you not are now.
Yes. Yeah.
Because remembering who you were when that past story happened could have been 10 years ago or 15 years ago. You're a different person now. So I guess with that appreciation is No, I was going to say celebrate who you were and
Oh,
celebrate who
yes.
you are now.
Yeah.
What I was trying to sum up, that sort of come out. But celebrate you've got something. So celebrate you got something to work on. Celebrate that you've evolved from that past story. And we all know we walk away from things and we go, oh, we should have said that. I could have said that. I ought to have, why didn't I say that? And, you uppercut yourself and that whole thing or not. But celebrate that you're not that same person. Celebrate you got something to work on, and celebrate you're not that same person back then.
Yeah.
And you would, most people would do things differently. I'd like to think probably everyone would, from those big triggers. Could have said that, should have said that. But the truth is, it's perfect the way it was.
Yes.
But
And
it's on the way, not in the way.
right. And so see, that's that back to that 4 agreements part. Actually, 4 agreements is weaving into
We
some
haven't
of
done
these
that
tips
for a
too.
while.
No, we haven't, I guess. But I'm thinking about always do your best.
Yeah.
Always do your best. And so, if you're comparing yourself to an older version of you, or younger version of you, I should say. I meant old, like as back, outmoded.
I know you. I got it, everybody.
But the other thing that I was thinking of too is how to manage other people's emotions, is that whole aspect around don't take things personally. So if you think about, how you've been, I know
That's
that
so
we've all got examples of being around somebody who's really angry, yelling and complaining, and maybe
yeah.
complaining about what's on the news.
Yeah.
But and so I've had conversations with clients where they might have a partner that's being angry or yelling, and then they'll say, oh, but and he or she made me so angry because they did this or did that. So here's the thing, is that nobody can make you feel anything unless you say so. Don't take things personally. So even if somebody's yelling at you and saying, you're a schmuck, you're a loser, you're a this, you can't have any of that unless you say, yeah, I'm going into agreement and I'm taking it in. So don't take things personally. That's agreement number 2, by the way.
I love that, because I was thinking your feelings are yours to manage.
Yes.
So take accountability to your world. And I think, we talk about how to manage other people's emotions. You don't want other people to manage your emotions. So why is it up to you to manage other people's emotions? And I'm also talking about children. If you've got a child, because people go, oh, I need to manage my child's emotions. Like, no, you can definitely, but you do it in a way that's adaptable to that 4-year-old or that 3-year-old or the 40-year-old or whatever age they are. But you have to be accountable to your life. No one else is accountable to your emotions, your feelings, your actions. If they tell you to do it, you're the one who still did it. So you can't blame, you told me to do it. No, you still did it. Love, like that. So be accountable to your own actions.
I like that you brought children into there, because yes, with children, you want to do some management of it, but it's more about educating.
You don't want to you don't want to, you don't want to
stifle them. Yeah, you don't want to stifle, because that's the whole part of emotions do actually need to be respected and felt. We need to feel our emotions, but we don't need to splash them around or expect other people to take them on. Likewise, we don't take on other people's, right?
I know.
I have this image, and if people have ever listened to my sessions on Insight Timer, I talk a lot about envisaging yourself in your own snow globe, your own protective bubble.
All of a sudden I just went there and went, oh, that feels so good. Except we're in summer and Moira's in the snow. But
I'm in the snow, yep. But
actually,
you see, in my snow globe, it's purple sparkles that are in there.
Yeah, like I've got on my fingers here.
Yeah.
I think carry on.
I was just, because the thing is that we do all have the capacity to be in our own protective bubble. We can, similar to what you were saying at the beginning of our conversation, where I was very honoring of my energy and yours, and I loved how you said, like, I closed the door, but it was a glass door, so you could still see through it. But that's the same idea with this snow globe analogy, is you still get to see and perceive everything around you that's outside of your energy bubble, but you feel safe and secure in your own energy, right?
Well, I just Googled the movie Inside Out because I couldn't think of what it was
Oh,
called.
yeah, I like that one. That's awesome.
And if you haven't watched that, people, watch it. And if you have watched it, watch it again, because it's a beautiful way of acknowledging people's emotions
Mhm.
without getting attached to their drama.
Yeah.
Because people can have drama and you feel obligated, or whatever you want to call it, whatever you label you want to put on it, you feel pulled towards them. But that Inside Out is a great one of respecting other people's emotions and letting them come out. And apparently there's going to be another one come out soon. I heard
good.
They said there's going to be another level of it. But Inside Out is, I just got it. So it was in 2015, American animated movie that just follows the inner works of the mind of Riley, a young girl who adapts her family's relocation, and she just has her emotions.
Yeah. And they actually give you really good examples of how that can play out. Yeah.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I think that's a great one if people haven't watched it. But even if you watched it 10 years ago, actually, even if you watched it when it came out in 2015, not quite 10 years ago, but watch it again, because you'll be a different person from then.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
But one of the things I got out of that was say no. Like, you don't have to jump on everyone's train. You don't have to jump on and hold on tight and the carriage, jump on and then jump off. And if you're on and you want off, get off the train.
Okay. Yeah.
And if it derails while you're on it, deal with it. You can say no more often. If it doesn't,
can. And what informs that, yes, respectfully. And what informs that for you is pausing and finding your best rhythm and flow so that you can step into saying, how do I feel about myself? Right? To me, that's a beautiful way to feel into, do I need to say no here?
Well, that's those 3 questions. And every time I go to say this, the 3 questions, I literally look, even though I know it's in my brain, I look love hard on my computer. Is this good for me?
Yes
Is
or
this
no?
good for others?
Yes or no?
And do I want to?
Yes or no? Absolutely.
And it has to be a yes, not a
I'm not sure. Maybe I should.
I've got my mum saying this, or my partner saying, any of that. It has to be a heck yes. And if it's a heck yes, then it's a yes. And if it's not, there's more work to be done.
Absolutely. And that, because that's actually managing your emotions. Because I don't know about you, but I don't ever want somebody going along doing something with me because they thought they should.
It's that obligation.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's a tip. Watch your obligation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that comes from maybe, just this once. Because and this is a conversation that I had with somebody just recently, with a client actually, about letting people down. This idea of I said I was going to do this but I don't have the time, and I have to do it now because I'm going to let them down. But I'm so tired and I don't have the bandwidth to do it, but I still have to because I'm going to let them down. But my point is you're actually letting them down because you've got a diluted version or an unenergized version of you showing up.
I know. And for me, if I asked you to do something and you didn't do it, and you're like, oh, I've got to do it, I've got to do it, I would feel stink that you had less sleep, more stress because I asked
Yeah,
you to do something. Like,
I know.
I'm not giving you a task, or I'm not asking you to do something, or you're not offering because I want you to get to burnout.
I know. I know.
I'm asking you because you're like, oh, I know who could do it. Is Moira. I could have this conversation with Moira. I could ask Moira to do it. Like, and it's okay when they say no. And I guess that goes back to that. Don't take things personally again.
Yes, very much so. But it's also because we don't know the inner workings of somebody, because it's really about respecting that everyone needs to be having their own flavor of doing that assessment of how does this make me feel about me, or checking in with those 3 questions. Is this good for me? Is this good for the other or the others? And do I want to? And knowing that if there's any hesitation, it's a no. And it's not a, oh no, can you come back to me and ask me next week? Or, oh, because then as soon as you start explaining it away, then that's actually trying to say that, oh, that there's something wrong with you saying no, or saying, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do.
Just because I can do something doesn't mean I have to. That's kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I like that. Just because I can do it doesn't mean. And we do offer, like, if I would ask Moira to do something if it was quick and easy and I knew she could do it easily. And she has the right to say no.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the key piece there.
She has. And so I'm not just come on, Moira, come on. If you're begging, yeah, it ain't that, I'm big. Come on, Moira, please, 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 please. You don't want to be doing that stuff to people. It's not healthy for your emotions or theirs. I was just thinking about this. One of the things somebody told me, and I was like, well, that's a crock of whatever, that's not going to work, was and it flipping worked. And I was like, oh, okay,
Oh.
I don't understand this, but it worked. And it was literally putting a Band-Aid over your belly button. So you're actually putting a protect. I know Moira's like, well, I didn't expect that one. and it was literally, so putting a protection layer, believing that you've got a protection layer around yourself, that's that protection layer that you're putting around yourself, so that somebody says something, it's not going to come to you, like you're just talking about that snow globe. But there's a Band-Aid on belly button. I'm just going to Google it. I'm just going to say this. It actually says, hang on, that actually talks about car sickness.
Okay. Well, that could be managing your emotions too.
Definitely, yeah. And so, well, be prepared. I guess be prepared if you're going in the car. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to tell Moira outside of here. But what somebody said to me was, you put a Band-Aid over your belly button. You have the intention that this is going to protect you from somebody coming in and taking your energy. And I was like, whatever. And I went to a place, and I literally put one Band-Aid on. I completely forgot about it. I got home, got into the shower that night, went, oh, my Band-Aid's on, pulled it off, and then went, oh my God, that worked. Oh my God, that worked. I didn't have that, what I usually, and so I set the intention. So I guess it's setting the intention. The bigger picture is set the intention that if you're going somewhere that feels like it's going to cause you unease, set the intention that it's not going to bother you. And that goes back to that trust, but whatever it is, a Band-Aid or not, but I'm going to find it.
So it's interesting, while you're trying to find that, I'm wondering if energetically, and I've taught this to many, many clients and students over the years, I might have even said it to you, where we get affected by the opinions or the energy of others around us is at our solar plexus chakra. And that's actually just above our belly button, just in that soft part under our ribs. It's the solar plexus chakra. And so if you're going into, and I actually do this myself, if you're going into a place where you know that there's sort of chaotic, crazy-making, negative energies that you can do a couple of things. You can either just put your hand on that area with the decision and the commitment that you're going to look after your own energy and you're not going to take anything in that's not yours. Now, if it's really, really intense, you can imagine, envisage, and pretend that you have a mirror pointing out the way hanging in front of that area of you. So therefore, anything that's kind of incoming, other people's emotions, it's sending it back to sending it back with love, kind of thing.
She's just described everything on my Google, by the way. Apart from the mirror, I haven't got the mirror one, but I'm just scanning. I'm going, oh yeah, she just said everything that I was trying to Google, Deborah. Just for the record.
See, I said, go off you go and do that, and I'm going to riff on this idea.
That's Deborah.
one more piece around that solar plexus chakra. If you're familiar with the chakras, the color that's associated with that is yellow. So you could have like a yellow crystal, or envisage yellow, or wear yellow.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Wow. Okay, that makes a whole different spin on things. Makes me go, But I guess that goes down to that trust. So somebody who doesn't understand chakras and those things, who had to Google it, and Moira goes, oh, just this is this. It's a trust. I just put it on. I believed it was going to work. Didn't even entertain and think about it and go, it's not working or anything. I just went, oh, yeah, it's going to work. Done. That's it.
And that's excellent. Yeah.
That's literally it. Yeah.
I've taught those techniques that I just said to people who they had no idea what chakras were, but I was just teaching them a tip, and they come back and say, hey, what kind of weird voodoo stuff was that? Because it works.
It worked. That's
the awesome thing, is it works.
Yeah, I think that's a valid one. Yeah, who would have thought we'd ended on a chakra one?
I know. How to manage other people's emotions. Actually, that's actually so important though, because that's what that chakra is. It's about that's the chakra where we show up as ourselves, and so that's the best way to manage other people's emotions, is show up authentically as you.
The solar plexus chakra, also known as the Manipura, see, Moira will be able to recite this, or navel chakra, relates to how you identify yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I kind of just said that.
No point asking Google, just ask Moira. Get up for our podcast and ask Moira. Well, you know we're out of time.
We are out of time.
Surprise. Let's grab your note-taking device, people, because we are gonna whip through these as quick as we can. Mm-hmm. Giggle as quick as we can. Shall I start?
Yeah, go.
I think
you go.
Oh yeah, okay. So my first tip, how to manage other people's emotions, was number one, watch how you say things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how it's said. And I guess what we didn't say was ego versus humble.
Yeah.
We jump into that. I'm just gonna be egotistical here and say, what, are you kidding me? No way, that's never gonna happen. Who do you think you are? Like, or just like, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And there's the respect.
Totally, which sums up all error. This doesn't work for me.
That just doesn't work for me
right now, and may not be ever. But you don't have to put may not be ever, but you can just literally, and that's that side swipe. But watch how you say things. And that was because of a conversation I had with Moira this morning. Mm-hmm. And she said something like, I can't even remember now. That was like,
neither can I. That was a long time ago. No, but basically it was like, it was
a beautiful closing of the door. Mm-hmm. That and as we go through these tips, they're all things that I felt mm-hmm. respected mm-hmm. in that. But it was a lovely one, and I called it the closing of the glass door.
Yeah, because I did no door slamming.
No, but I could see you're still holding energy for me, but you weren't letting that conversation flow.
Yeah, totally get it.
That's tip one, peeps.
And tip two, which kind of spawned right from that, was that the acknowledgement that everybody needs to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. So you don't have to agree with them or like what they say. It's just to know I can hold space. I can hold space, but not get embroiled in that emotional vibe or anything like that, right?
Yeah, and getting on that crazy train.
Yeah.
And seen, heard, and acknowledged is just such a beautiful go, oh, now I know why they're losing their shite.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard them. Or, oh, that makes sense. Like, just seen, heard, and because I want it. I want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. Mm-hmm. And I believe everyone does in their own way. Too. Moira did a beautiful one, and it was, how does this make me feel about me?
Yeah.
And it just brings you back to your heart over your head, because your head will tell you left, swipe right, plow ahead or whatever, but your heart will guide you a different way most of the time.
Yeah.
If we're in our head. And so how does this make me feel about me? I don't feel comfortable. Okay, so I'm not going to do it. Or I feel a little bit icky, or I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. If you can't put your finger on it, it's still an icky situation.
That's right. And so it's saying pause or
Yeah.
go a different direction or close that glass door.
Yeah, close the glass door right now until you're ready to. How does this make me feel about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I think at that point you brought up the reminder or the analogy about the oxygen mask, because this is about you checking in. How are you doing and filling your cup first before
Yes.
you're engaging or getting carried off in some other train, right?
Jump on that crazy train. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yes. The next one was trust. And this is where we talked about the obstacles are on the way. We actually unpacked this one quite a bit, where we talked about implicit trust, and know that that is a truth, regardless of what story may be rambling around in your head. It's there. You may not see it in that moment. So that's when we have to just trust. It's like faith that just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah. And totally. And that's where we talked about the past stories as well. Be aware of those past stories that come in, because they can immobilize us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about procrastination. There's a past story attached to that procrastination, why you're not proceeding. But if you're going to go why, you're going to go on an endless.
Oh, that's that negative spiral.
You're going to go on an endless saga of where we're going. I just noticed I've got a couple of tips that I believe Moira missed. Was one of the ones was be respectful. After this, how does it make me feel? I had be respectful. And that is be respectful of yourself and others. And Moira was incredibly respectful she wasn't engaging in my conversation. She was respectful to me, and she was respectful to herself. And I love people who are more respectful. It just makes you feel, wow, they've owned who they are, and this is what we all want in our lives, or have a desire to be more of who we are. And the other one I had was, you all have your right to your own emotions, so you can't judge people for their own emotions, but don't avoid and listen to your body. And knowing that the things like we talked about, things are for you, not against you. So when your body says this, I've got a headache, then there's something to work on. Or if I'm going to work and I'm having a physical shudder, then there's something going on. Or you think about somebody and your physical comes in. Then this is something to seriously work on. It's not just your mind now. The mind you've missed the mind part. We're now going to the physical to wake you up.
Right. And so that's why it's so important to honor it and not stuff it down. That's when I talked about that client that was getting irritated at her body.
Yes. And it's for you, not against you. Yeah.
Totally get that. And thank you for bringing them in. Although I did touch on the respectful part. This at this point, I think, is where I talked about appreciation. That when we get caught in a loop of a past story or a trigger or a what if or a woulda, coulda, shoulda, is to just appreciate. Thank you to that inner dialogue, because all components of us, negative and positive, are focused on getting us to where we're going in a successful, aligned way. So it's about appreciating the inner voice, saying thank you. I get that you're trying to keep me safe or make me look good or keep me successful, but I got it. I'm good. Right.
And even as soon as you said I've got it, my hand went on my heart.
Yeah.
It's literally, I've got this. And that appreciation can be a little bit of excitement, like, I've got this, even if you don't think you have. Hand on heart and saying, I've got this. Instantly you're telling your, I don't know, your brain, your body, whatever, your soul, I've got this. And it's going to respond to that.
Yeah, most definitely.
And even if you don't think you've got it, do that, because there's going to be a shift in you that's going to go, yeah, you do. You actually do.
And that comes about when you put your hand on your heart, much more so than when you're listening to your chatter in your head, because that's not it. That's not the guidance system you want to be following.
Chatter in your head's like a hamster wheel. It's
Yep.
like a hamster. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. And with appreciation, my favorite one is celebrate. Celebrate that
Yeah.
you've got something to work on,
Mhm.
and celebrate who you are now. You're not the same person you were listening to the last podcast. You've evolved who you were 10 years ago. So celebrate you've got something to work on, because it is something.
But something you said at that point, Deb, was that to celebrate who you were as well as celebrating who you are, which I thought was really beautiful. I think that's a really important part too.
Yeah. So celebrate your past.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The next one I have here was, we kind of dove in and out of the 4 agreements, but this one was the don't take things personally. Your emotions are yours to feel and to navigate and to guide you. And everybody else's emotions are theirs. So you don't take them on for yourself. Can you just hold space for somebody having a tantrum, for instance? Or somebody doing something that maybe you don't really like?
Yeah, that don't take don't take things personally actually came up in a conversation I had yesterday with a woman who was saying she posted in a social media group. She had friend request someone in the social media group. Someone put her name and said, oh, this person's friend requested. And it was a coaching group. It was something like, say it was people who struggle with the color red. This is not what it is, by the way. People who struggle with the color red. And I remember having a client who didn't want to join my business and let me help her.
Of red.
She didn't like the color red. So it's
Oh
funny
my.
that, okay, you know who you are. By the way, I'm going to contact you now because, you've
Because she referenced you.
Yeah, but this person, their whole niche was helping people who can deal with the color red. Now, this is the truth, but not the actual specific example, because it's very funnel,
Right.
if I said it, you're going, wow. And so she joined this group. So she friend requested someone in this group, and her intention was definitely to get clients, but also have an understanding of things that she may have missed in her learning. Like, okay, well, they've got another problem. Well, that's an interesting one. I hadn't thought about it like that. So anyway, so she then had this person go, this person's friend requested me. Who do they think they are? They're a coach of this particular thing. Blah, 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 blah. They're only in here skimming for clients. Don't friend request them. Don't accept them. And just this person had posted this whole spiel about
Wow.
this person was on a coaching group. And I was like, why are you taking this personally? This person's me not even thinking about my words, just went, why are you taking this personally? This person's clearly got some shite from past stuff that they don't friend requested. They just want that support group as being to go in there and moan. I said, just double check, go on and look at all their posts they've done. And she said, I can tell you for the last 50 posts I watched, because I got her to do it, she said she just moaned. I said, yeah, she doesn't want help. She literally, and so you can't take it personally. It's just like, I'm not going to friend request anyone, and I'm not. So I'm just painting the picture of how extreme when we take something personally.
Yeah.
She said she's badmouthed me. I said, no, she hasn't. She's just pretty much told everybody, I just, I'm in a bad mood today. She's just done that for you, and she's promoted you. So get in there and type a comment and say, here's my intention. Like, go and be transparent. But you can't take things personally, because you don't know what the other person's dealing with.
And you always have to remember, not everything's about you. That's what I've said before. It's not always about you.
My partner said that last night. I was like, what? She was like, this wise person once told me. I said, what, was it me? Like, no, it's not about you this time. I was like, what do you mean? I'm sure I was that wise person. Don't take things personally, and it's not about you. I think that's a beautiful one. It's not always about you.
Yep. I don't know whose turn is it now.
I don't know.
I think the next one is that we talked about. You brought up the movie, movie Inside Out, and actually that actually is a really lovely one, because it can actually help you get
doesn't
clear
matter what
on.
age you watch it. It's lovely. It
doesn't
taps
matter.
into
No. It actually really helps you view emotions, and you can kind of go, oh yeah, that's that person having a meltdown or a tantrum or angry at something. And it just allows you to hold space. How to manage other people's emotions, acknowledge they're there. Acknowledge, gosh, and then not get into a big scenario or a pissing match about like, oh, well, I can't stay near you because of blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just honor. They're having a bad day. That's okay. That's what that PEMS check-in allows us to have, the bad days, because we all do, right?
And yes, 100%. And I think that the one I had actually before that was your feelings are yours to manage, and it was accountability to your own emotions, actions. Like even if they tell you to do something, you still did it. So, you're emotional here. Actually, yes, I am.
Yeah.
You're right. You can say, Deborah, you're emotional. I go, yes, I am, because it's mine to manage, and I can be fully aware of that. And then you can go through these tips. But you're accountable to your own actions, choices, thoughts. No one else's. It's you at the end of the day.
Yep, absolutely. There's one of your favorite ones is to say no. Be okay, and I put beside it, be okay doing
my favorite
so.
one. No. Yeah.
Yes.
Say no more often.
Yeah. And just be okay doing it. You have the right to doing it.
Yeah. And that's brought us into that good for me. Good for me.
Yeah.
Is this, I look at my little post-it note again, even though I can recite it, is this good for me? Is this good for others? Do I want to? And unless it's a heck yes, it's a no.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's and be okay with that no. So I guess the other thing is be okay with your decisions.
Yeah.
But no, you can change them at any time, but be okay with the decision you make right here, right now.
Yep. Totally get it. I have, the last one I have is when you talked about the Band-Aid over your belly button, and then I brought in the whole thing about protecting your solar plexus, looking after your solar plexus chakra. So then you're not absorbing other people's emotions.
Yeah. I love that I mentioned something and she's like, Moira just jumps into Google, and her Google is her own head, by the way. She just goes, everything I'm thinking of. Yeah, I just want to mention one other thing, actually two things. One is obligation. Be aware of your obligation.
Watch your obligations. Yes, you did say that.
And I use two words called fair exchange. As long as there's fair exchange in all relationships, there's going to be no obligation. But if you're counting, I've done this 10 times and you've done it once, you're out of fair exchange because you're looking at that. And then that's where disgruntledness comes in. So just be aware of your obligation. They've babysat my kids 3 times, so I feel I have to babysit them. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like
you don't.
Because they've done it. You actually don't, unless you've set that agreement up right from the start. So be aware of that. And the last one, which we don't have, is how to manage people's emotions, is Moira and I.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. That's kind of what we do.
It's Moira and I. And we both get a result. We do it differently.
Yes.
You'll hear in this podcast, you'll hear that we're different energy. But even Moira you can get on a call with Moira and you can just hear her voice and you're just like, oh, okay. No matter what's going on, I feel
everything's
different.
good now.
I don't believe my voice. Yeah, I don't believe my voice has that thing. It's more like, wake up. Okay, right. Yep, I'm here.
No, but you'll make us laugh. And that's a good thing too.
We break that energy. But Moira and I are here and we can help manage your emotions, and we can definitely go into these tips and more at a deeper level. Because I've been in this specific business for 18 years, but I've been managing people's emotions, as a secretary, as a receptionist. I've been managing all those things right from school, like when I came out of school. But even prior to that, people had a problem, they'd always come to me at school. I've been doing that for so long, and the same for Moira. And it just literally comes as easy as, I'm going to say, buttering our toast. But it is easy to us because we do it on a daily basis.
Yeah, both of us. It's our nature.
Yeah, I don't have a Band-Aid on me. I don't need a Band-Aid when I talk to you, to Moira or anyone, but on this podcast. But we're here. We're extremely skilled and talented at what we do. Try us out. Like if you're worried about this, just try us out. Reach out.
Yeah.
Jump on a call. And instantly, the moment you reach out, the moment you take accountability to your own actions and decisions, there's already been a shift in your heart.
Things start to shift. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm pleased to put Deb
I'm
and Moira
good.
in there.
That's the final tip.
Yeah. Bloody serious about that, people, okay? Right, wrapping up. Holy gamoly. So you've got your notes, you listen to us, you've got some great insights to move forward from here. The last two parts is let us know your PEMS. You started with your PEMS check-in, which are physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Being aware of that, we talked about accountability, where you were at the start, then halfway through, and now where you are at the end of this podcast. And our intention was to take you from the higher number to the lower number. 10 being, if you're at a 10, then definitely, if you're still at a 10 at the end of this, and definitely
you got to reach out. Yep.
Like stop mucking around here. Just hit help. Just jump in our thing and go help. That's it. That's like whatever. The least amount of words you can say possible right now, because if you're in that 10. And our intention was to take you to the 0. So Moira and I were both, that's right, we were both 2s, and we both wrote down 2 on the other person.
Yeah. I thought that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, we're just like, wow. We're both 2s. Where are you now, Moira? I'm not even writing anything down. I know where you are. Where are you? What's your number?
I'm a 0.
Yeah. I'm a 0 too.
I knew you were a 0.
I'm a 0 too. So let us know, people, where you're at. Let us know where you're at from that. So the very, very, very last thing is, if you like this, I'm going to give you the next step. And the next step is, let us know where your PEMS are, where it was and where it is in our comments. And also let us know what's your favorite tip.
Yeah.
And that could be one of our tips or even one of your own.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you like this, that's the next step. We want to know your PEMS number, and we would love to know
what was your favorite tip.
Yeah. And we may not have put it there, so don't feel like you have to put one of ours down. You do. No, you don't. Don't feel obligated to put
No,
one
managing other people's emotions. Deb won't be offended if it's not one of ours. It's okay.
I'll be like, damn, that was a great one. Why didn't I think of that? So thank you, people. That's our deliciously motivated mindset conversation, which is on how to manage other people's emotion with Debz. That's me. And Moira.
That's me.
That's her.
That's me.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening today. And we'll look forward to connecting with you on the next podcast. Thanks, Moira.
Thanks, dear Deb. Thanks, listeners. Talk to you next time. Bye.